Those ongoing relationships and playing with the people, that showed me a really good way to live, a really wholesome, people-oriented way to live, founded on relationships.
And I'm curious, like when it comes to Dungeons and Dragons, when players create their own characters, when you've seen these games played out, say if they are, have you seen it the case where it might be a very shy person in real life, but their character is just a tyrant, basically, or like playing against their personality type in the game?
Oh yeah, absolutely. People, I mean, not that, I don't know about that exact case, but absolutely, people will, it's the same thing for acting, we'll say. There are people who are, you know, who they are in life, who they are really, but then the characters that they play, the characters that they might be really good at playing. There can be some very genuinely super nice people who can play some amazing villains in movies. And it's a similar case for people who make characters for D&D where they might be shy or unassuming or very polite and, you know, just these sorts of things in real life or when you meet them. But when they sit down and they feel like they fit in with the character, they've got a part of their personality that they want to express, or however it is working for them, however it feels for them when they're deciding to create this character for us to enjoy together. It's quite interesting. It's quite fascinating to see sometimes. Yes, you get some very, very wild differences sometimes, and that's exciting to see because it's an opportunity for that person to share a part of themselves or to express themselves in a way that they probably don't in any other part of their life.
It's almost like, I wonder if that's who they really are. It begs the question, like I go to, you know, some raves in the summer and you start to wonder because you'll see, you know, lawyers in a pink tutu, and it's like, who are you really? Are you the lawyer? Are you the guy in the tutu?
Sometimes.
Or maybe an amalgamation of both, you know?
Yeah, it could be both, and I think that it's actually one of the best things about D&D is, I mean, we're forced to live in certain boxes pretty much all the time at work or in a lot of different kinds of social settings. We have to construct a personality for other people that they want to get along with. Certain behaviors just wouldn't be appropriate, whether or not those are behaviors that are like suppressed in us, or we just want to dabble and just want to kind of stretch our wings for a little while and be something different than ourselves for just a short period of time, just for a break. Playing a role-playing game is an awesome opportunity to do that.
How do you deal with conflict when it arises? Because naturally in any situation, stuff's going to come up.
Philosophically, I think conflict is a good thing, and so I'm not averse to it, and I think the real issues arise when people stuff the conflict under the rug. So I'm just a very transparent person, and if there's an elephant in the room that people aren't talking about it, I'm gonna be like, hey, see this elephant over here? Like, bah, bah, bah. Why are we avoiding this? Should we talk about it? Everybody feel a little uncomfortable with me poking at it? And so that was kind of my philosophy, and still remains my philosophy.
So how do you deal with that when it happens?
Yeah, we have a policy. It's pretty straightforward, and we have over 200 attendees, 200 regular attendees to our events at the moment, and in our extended network. We don't actually have that many conflicts. We have a couple have come across, have occurred because humans are humans. We have a very simple policy about it, which is, first step is for the two people involved in the issue to, we ask them, can you solve it yourselves? Can you talk to each other and come to some kind of resolution where you can both live together? Because the club's not going to change. We're going to be doing our regular events. We're here every Monday. It's not necessarily the case that you can avoid the person, although maybe you can. The club is large enough and the events are so numerous. We have 2 Dungeons and Dragons nights per week. One person who doesn't like another, and if they can't resolve the differences, they could go to the Friday night game, where the other person could go to the Monday night game, and that's okay, but it's not our preferred outcome. Preferred outcome is that the two people can, or more if that's the case, they talk about whatever the underlying issue is, and just have a conversation with each other through the framework of our pillars, our priorities at the club, dignity first, and try to find that peace between them. And if they can't, or if they need help doing that, then they can bring in some of the leadership from the club as a kind of moderation or like an arbiter, not to necessarily make a judgment, but just to help them negotiate the issue. Because a lot of the times, small interpersonal conflicts, they're not big deals, they're not big problems, they're just little frictions that maybe the best advice is maybe just don't sit at the same table, maybe just don't play together. You guys like to play different kinds of games. Because there's so many games going on that it's not really a problem. There's plenty of space for people to do that. Because of our policies, or because of how clear showing people dignity is as an important pillar in the club, it's easy to see if somebody were not upholding that. If somebody's being a jerk in that situation where there's two people with a conflict, it's kind of easy to see when someone might be being a jerk, because you can tell they're not showing dignity to the other person. The other person might feel, I don't feel dignified when they're talking to me. I don't feel dignified when we're playing together. I feel insulted, or I feel this, or I feel that. It's kind of easy then to tease out the specific behavior that's causing the issue and just the tone or just the nature of this upset. And it's a very simple question after that is, are you willing to continue to show dignity to this person or not? And are you willing to continue to show dignity to this person or not? And if you are, great, then problem solved. Dignity wins. If you're both people in an interaction are feeling dignified and happy about it, content about it, they feel respected when the other person's engaging with them, that's not really a problem anymore. And if they say, I don't want to show this person dignity, or I don't want them to feel dignity, that's not a person that's necessarily a good fit for the club, because that's not the attitude and that's not the behavior that we're trying to foster in our relationships with each other. And so the question at that point is to that person, do you want to change that behavior, or do you want to maybe take a break from coming to our events? I'm very happy to say that we've never had to do that. If both people are giving each other dignity or trying to, but they're not able to, but it doesn't feel like it, then that's a great opportunity to realize that, like, oh, you actually are trying to be nice, it's just the way that our personalities are have a natural conflict. And so that's kind of can be discovered through that process. And then when they discover that, a lot of the times any kind of issue goes away.
Yeah, and then like people, like sometimes it's just like oil and water, where it's like no matter what, like sometimes there's nothing.
Play different games.
That's fine too. What's the most fun you've ever had playing a board game?
I'm going to answer a slightly different question. I'm going to answer the most fun that I've had general is when we hosted our club hosted a mega game, an alien arrival mega game called Watch the Skies First Encounter. And we hosted it here at the dock. Tremendous space for being able to do all those kinds of activities. We used the whole lower floor. We had 50 people come all day long to play a game, a 8-hour-long experience where they're given roles, sort of realistic roles, like President of the United States, or the Chief Military General of Japan, or the Foreign Minister of Brazil, these kinds of roles, or for example, a reporter, and or the CEO of a major corporation. And they're just taking on these roles. It's role-playing, it's a game, and they're giving briefings about, your country is this and that, you want these kinds of things and outcomes and desires. The premise of the game is that aliens have arrived on Earth and they want something, and you don't know what it is. They're doing things and you don't know what that is. And some of the players, some of the people who bought tickets for the event were the aliens, and they are playing their objectives. We gave them a briefing package that said, you're here for these reasons, do whatever you want. Send your UFOs and so on. How you interact with the humans on Earth, totally up to you. And same thing for the humans. They are given their loose briefings and objectives, but then they can make whatever kind of deal they want with other countries, or start being paranoid that a UFO landed in let's say France, and then the French president is abducted, and then he comes back, and then everyone starts asking, is France taken over by aliens? What's going on? Did we talk to France? Do we shun them? Making those kinds of decisions, as if it's a bit of a simulation as well. Kind of like a Model UN, and kind of like those CDC things where they do a giant training scenario where they like fake derail a train and have a bunch of people fake injured, and they have their agents go out and try to deal with the situation, just sort of semi-realistically. And it's that kind of experience that people had. And it was so intense, and it was so fast-paced, and it was so fun, and everyone was running around and rushing and absolutely delighted. And there were moments of such tension and such drama and discovery that for weeks after the game, weeks after we concluded the game at the end of the night, I was telling people that was the most fun I've ever had in my life. So that is the most fun I ever had in my life with that game. And I'm so glad that our club was able to put that together. That's a huge part of the argument about why a club, why anything, why not, and why a large club? Why not just a board game club or a D&D club or a Blood on the Clock Tower Murder Mystery Night club and just leave it at that? Why have a big club that does all these things and tries to do extra things as well? Well, it's because we can't do a giant mega game thing as just a small group, like a really small group of people with a small reach and a small connection with their community. But at that time, when we hosted the mega game, we had a huge network of people. We've got relationships with many places in Victoria, and many people who've come to our events, played our games. They know we're good. We put on a good show. And it's a great place to be, and so they knew when they bought a ticket that it was going to be fun, that it was going to be something interesting. We even had people come in from Alberta. They flew in from Alberta just to play in our game. I know, crazy, but they did, and they had a blast. We actually made a little bit of a splash in the mega game community, and I'm very happy and proud about that. Our director, Jade Campbell, she organized the whole thing, the whole mega game experience. We had I say she organized, she led the organization team, and we had many other people banding together, pitching their work together to be able to pull this off, because we had to print tons and tons of stuff and prepare a lot of documents, and we printed a giant world map that we put down, like a kind of Dr. Strangelove, How I Learned to Love the Bomb kind of war room style map of the world that all the military leaders walked up to and they looked at, and they could see the UFOs flying around, and it's an important prop, but it was great. And the fact that we were a super club, that we host many things, that we have many people in the network, many connections, that is what made it so easy. I say easy, it was a tremendous amount of work, but it made it so successful. It made it so large, and 50 people is a ton of people to come out for this, for an 8-hour thing. Ticketed event, they paid to be there. There's been other mega games put on and tried to put on in Victoria that have had much less turnout, or that weren't able to fire because they just weren't able to attract enough attention, enough people. So why a club? Why a big organization? For this, so we can do that. I mean, continuing on from this, it's also one of our hopes, growing larger and larger. One of my personal objectives, one of the objectives for the club, is to continue to grow our membership, and to save up for a clubhouse of our own building, our own location, which we have control over, that we have access to 24/7, that we have key cards to. We distribute key cards to the members, that they can just take a friend who's visiting from out of town. They say, oh, we'll go down to the club. And they go to the club, swipe in, and they find lots of people already there, and they discover, a friend who says, oh, you're here, do you want to play a Magic game? You want to play a game of cards? They said, oh, I've got my friend from out of town, and he doesn't have a deck, and I left mine at home. And they said, no problem, we've got some spares, come and join us and play. Have a drink, make yourself a cup of coffee from the espresso machine in the kitchen, or just sit down and hang out in the lounge and just chit-chat, or bust out a board game from the library. It's that kind of environment, that kind of space filled with those relationships, those ongoing relationships with the people in your community that we're striving to get to. And it takes, like the mega game, it takes a lot of work, it takes a lot of organization, it takes time, and it takes people. It takes many people contributing together. Our members provide dues to the club, $20 a month, that money is used to pay for the awesome space that we have access to at the dock, which enables us to do all kinds of other events and activities more often, and in a different setting than in the community centers which we've been operating in, and with awesome amenities similar to what we want to get in the club. Comfortable seating, enjoy a private environment, coffee machines in the kitchen. That's great. That's really comfortable. I was playing a game, we were doing a Blood Bowl league, which is a little miniature orcs versus elves football miniature game. It's delightfully fun. But we're doing a league with some of our members, long-term members that I know personally, that I love playing with, people that I have relationships with. I'm not just playing the game, I'm playing with my friends. I was playing and my opponent was taking a while thinking through his turn because I had made a nice mess for him to deal with. And I said, I'm just going to go make a cup of coffee. So I got up, went to the kitchen, made myself a nice little espresso, came back. He'd finished figuring out his turn. I'm comfortably leaning back and sipping my coffee, so civilized, playing our games together. It's those moments. It's the mega game. It's the pleasant, comfortable play with friends and people that are new friends, or people that may be friends in the future, just new people in the club. That is the secret sauce that makes people come to the club and stick. They stay in the club because they can't get that anywhere else.
You literally answered my last question, which was how would you like to see the club grow and evolve? So that's perfect. I'm curious, what was the outcome of the Alien game? Who won? Was it the aliens or the humans?
I'm just going to say both, and I'm leaving it at that.
No. Come on, Ryan.
Come to the next one. We're going to be hosting another one. We're going to be hosting more mega games in the future because it was such a tremendous success and a little feather in our cap for the club, and it was so well received. We had almost unanimous 5 out of 5s on the survey coming back. One person had a suggestion, so it was 4 out of 5. But it was so much fun, and like I said, the most fun I've ever had in my life. And I just kept telling people I couldn't help myself. So we're going to absolutely be doing more. So I don't want to give any spoilers. I want you to come out. I want you to come out. And I want you to come out to the next one to play in it and to be surprised by the experience, because that's part of it, right? It's you being on the ground, making the decisions, and not knowing what's going to happen, not knowing the outcomes. That's that gambling aspect and rolling dice and playing a game like that. It's the surprise and the uncertainty in a safe, contained, simulated environment that is just delightful.
I mean, if that's a good little promo there, I'll snip that off and send it to you, because that's a sweet promo to get even non-gamers into the club.
It'll be a Watch the Skies probably second encounter or something along those lines. We don't have a name for it yet, but we've done first encounter. We'll be doing another one, and possibly different kind of scenarios as well. Not just aliens arrive at Earth, what are you going to do? You're the leader of Japan or whatever, but different scenarios from that too. Different kinds of games. Stay tuned.
So what kind of events does the gaming club do, like on a weekly basis, and where do you do it?
The club does a ton of activities in Victoria. We've grown huge over the past year, especially, where we're doing over 5 events per week. We've got Dungeons and Dragons on Mondays at Quadra Village Community Center. We've got members do whatever they want at the dock on Tuesdays. We've got board games at Quadra Village Community Center on Wednesdays. We've got board games at the dock on Thursdays. We've got D&D at Fernwood Community Center on Fridays. We've got Magic cards and Blood on the Clock Tower on Saturdays. We've got Blood Bowl League on Sundays, where people can paint or pit their teams against each other in a miniature battle game. All those things, plus we do a bunch of special events. We did a Halloween party this year at the dock with electro dance music, EDM DJs, and lasers and snacks.
Put it on, I don't care what it is.
And costumes, and it was a great time. We do a spring barbecue, an annual spring barbecue around Easter every year as well at Fernwood Community Center. It's a great location to host stuff like that. So we try to take opportunities to. We have the regular, consistent events for our members and for the community all the time, and we also have we try to make the opportunities for those special events where people can come together and meet the other people involved in the club that they might not actually know yet, because they're doing totally different sides of the club. They're playing totally different games, but again, because we're a super organization, a large organization, and we do all these things, something like the Halloween party or the Easter party or the Easter barbecue means that you're going to meet people that you actually have something in common with, and possibly for the past year you've been both coming to the club, you just never met yet, and then that'll start a new relationship. So we're really happy about how those things are going. We're always on the lookout to add more events, so stay tuned.
I don't know if you can physically add more if you wanted to.
That's the best thing about it, is because we're a club, because we're a group, one person doesn't have to run all that stuff. I might lead the club, but I do not host every single event every single night. I would go completely crazy, I'm sure. We have wonderful people taking not only responsibility to run events, but also the lead to put on events that the club might not have done as its own initiative, but they wanted to do it, and the club wants to support them. Part of that empowerment I've been talking about. And so they have a chance to put on a cool event, host it, be in charge, and give a new thing for people to do, add to the richness and value of the club.
Cool. And if you can only play one RPG for the rest of your life.
Oh, no.
Yeah, you knew this was coming.
It's an awful question.
Only one. Which would it be?
Oh, don't give me such questions. That's too hard to ask. That's too hard to answer. I mean, the easy answer is D&D, because what does D&D mean? D&D is like, yeah, it's a completely massive statement, because there's so many different kinds of D&D, so many different editions, so many different versions. But I personally take a policy, or a philosophy is probably the better word for it, about D&D that they had at the beginning when Gary Gygax and so on were coming up with the game, is that every dungeon master, every table, it's a different game. Every dungeon master runs their own rules. The rules are all different because their worlds are different. The universe is different. The person in charge of that universe, the dungeon master, is a different person, is a unique person. So they're going to have a unique table, and they're going to have a unique game, and they're going to have unique quirks and rules and tweaks and preferences. And so that's my philosophy too, because that allows us to have the absolute most expression and creativity. So I will say D&D, I'll say Dungeons & Dragons, because that can mean anything.
So I'm going to take what you were mentioning earlier with sort of listening to conversation and being able to sort of pull out, I probably have this wrong, not necessarily math equations, but I'm assuming the aliens didn't completely take over, and I'm assuming
you want to know.
Humans were still alive. The aliens were maybe not hostile, and maybe there was some agreement.
I'm just going to say both won.
Ryan Czech.
Everyone was a winner.
That's corny. And I guess too, like obviously there's not a huge social media presence online for Galleon Gaming Club in terms of like personal photos and that. Is that, I'm assuming that's on purpose to respect everyone's privacy?
Yeah, it is by design. I started the club in Victoria after I moved here, right around the end of COVID. Or the beginning of the end, when you had to start doing sign in to restaurants or whatever. I started the D&D program at the Fernwood Community Center, great community center that has provided their space to us for these 2 years, or nearly, I think 3 years now. We started there once a week Friday, and I showed up every Friday for a week to host things. And it drew people in. It drew people in, including people. Jade was someone who came to one of the first D&D. I think she came to the very first D&D night there at Fernwood. She's now one of the directors of the club. We started there, and after the success of that, when we grew to fill the space, then I knew we needed to expand, and I approached Quadra Village Community Center. And they were also very generous with their space, and because we're hosting an open drop-in event to the entire community, anyone can show up. They're very generous with the space and the terms. We have been running that program now for nearly 2 years, and we have had amazing turnout. We have had a record turnout of 43 people in that building in one night, from 6 to 10 p.m. on a Monday, playing D&D or another RPG. There's lots of different kind of games people like to play. 43 people is a tremendous amount of people to have in a room on a Monday night every week. That said, we don't have that many people every week, but it's absolutely been tremendous turnout, and it's wonderful beyond words when I see everyone gathering there before the games start. They show up a little early. I'm getting out the tea and the coffee and getting out the sugar cubes and little cups for people. And they just gather and mingle and talk and ask each other, how did your week go? Or how did that interview go you mentioned last week? Anything new in your life? Just catching up. It's got a real coffee and cookies after church kind of vibe to it. Just a little bit, just a taste of it. But it's that community of people that you see every week that is absolutely tremendous, and I do not see that recreated anywhere else. Just in that building and just in that room, just with those people. But it's not something it might be a secret recipe or a secret formula, but it's not exclusive just to these people, just to these 40 plus people that show up. I think anyone can do it. That kind of space and those kinds of groups can happen anywhere. A lot of people want that, and when they have it, they'll treasure it. So I hope to continue to expand the club and maybe reach out to more of the community centers in town to have more D&D programs for local communities, while still with the club supervising all of it and bringing people together in a big mixer of many different kinds of games where you can come and participate in a board game. Maybe you came for D&D, but you discover, oh, there's board games, and you go to that and you discover different people, and you make connections, but they're not strangers, they're just other people in the club. They're already kind of pre-vetted. You already know that they're probably pretty reasonable people because they keep being allowed to show up to these community club events. It feels a lot easier to just kind of ease yourself into that environment and say hello and say, oh, I came from the D&D thing, and then break out a board game and discover some new people. That's the way things have been going, and that's the way things will continue to go.
Just lastly, where can people find you if they wanted to join the club or try a new game?
They can see us on GalleonGaming.org. We have a website, GalleonGaming.org, as well as a private Discord server that's full. The reason, I'll answer your question from earlier, which is why don't we have a huge social media presence? And the answer is because it's important to us. The stable growth of the culture of the club has been very important, that we wanted to make sure that there has been the time and the space and the people to find this really nice balance and these great attitudes that people have between each other. And that's been growing. It's been growing amazingly. And so our approach is very much in person. We use Discord and some online things as a way of like a kind of a newsletter or a way to inform people of our calendar of events and that sort of thing, which is useful to get new people, but also to remind existing members of the schedule of the events and any changes, just so they're fully informed, and also to communicate with the members only group, the people who are paying to support the club, that they have a private place where they can give their feedback and shape the direction of the club and vote and do the behind the scenes things. After all, they're members, they're paying for it, it's their club. So it has kind of been closed off. We have been a little private. We're very, very open in our in-person events. When people actually show up, it's wonderful to greet and say hello and welcome people into the space. It's very important to make them feel very welcome. And we do that. You have to get in through the front door, I guess, before you get into the fun part of the club, the more private part. We are making ourselves more open, or like publicly open, visually open, a little bit more announcements of things, starting with our website, GallionGaming.org. We also have, and maybe one day we'll start to use Facebook and Instagram and these other things, but primarily I'd recommend, if you're curious to know more or to attend a club event, recommend checking out our calendar of events on GallionGaming.org or going to the r/D&D Victoria subreddit, where there's just a lot of great people in Victoria playing role-playing games, that a lot of news and information and offers for games take place there, and we also do promote our D&D programs on there as well. We are working on a new marketing push, a new marketing plan to make ourselves more widely known and announced. So you may, by the time this documentary airs, there may be a lot more things, a lot more ways to learn about the Galleon Gaming Club.
Cool. And then do you just have any final thoughts or anything for people watching or listening?
Yeah, I encourage you to get out there. I encourage you to go out into the world, into the community, to meet people, talk to them, to create your own third spaces. Go to your local community centers. Ask them just tell them you have an idea and you want to know if it's possible to use the space. Just focus on the value of what you're providing to other people. Focus on the reason why you're getting out there, not necessarily to make a group that's getting cash donations and it's a way to make money or something along those lines. But I would say what it means for those people, because I invite you to reflect on your own feelings, like the world isn't giving me what I need. There's no third spaces, there's no community. I'm not able to go out and play this fun game or do a sewing activity or book club or anything else that I wish I had the opportunity to do. Maybe my city doesn't have one, or maybe the one that currently exists just doesn't feel right for some reason. You should get out there and make one, or go talk to people that also want to make one and then do it together. There's a little bit of hard work to consistently showing up. I would say the most important part of that process. Show up every week, even when you don't feel like it, even when you'd rather stay at home and be under a warm blanket in these cold seasons, and just not, because it's easier. I would say do that extra little hard thing to meet people in person, keep showing up to let those relationships solidify, and then rely on them, trust in them, and use them to do a little bit more, and encourage them to do a little bit more too. Because I think if we all pitched in a little bit into making our community better, we'd have a really, really, really great community.
It's perfect. We're done.
All right, thank you.
That was awesome, Ryan. You're really not gonna tell me?
Nope.
Dude,
Nope.
come on.
Come to the next one.
Can you at least, was it some form of compromise? Because that had to have been if they both won.
Lips are sealed.
Fine.